I can personally waste hours on end watching PC build montages all over YouTube, and I thought it was time to finally put together a cool edit of one of my own. This is the first PC I have ever built, and it is water cooled and decked out with all the bells and whistles that I could find. I'm gonna tell you my experience building it, the specs I've used, and of course, give you some spicy B-roll footage. Today, we're talking about how I built my ultimate PC. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. It's good to see you. Been wanting to make this video for a while now, and I've finally been able to put together something that I really admire. I've been wanting to build a PC for years now, and I finally think I've put together a rig that's perfect for my needs. If you're into PC builds, then this one's for you. Of course, if you have any questions or want to talk about what I mentioned in this video today, feel free to stop by the stream on Twitch where I go live. I'd love to see you stop by. Links will be all down in the description below. So with all PC builds comes a name that you choose for your computer, and I thought the theme for this was really anything and everything RGB and chrome. I wanted to make sure there was enough chrome accents to reflect off the RGB lights and kind of bounce it off the entire PC. Because of this, I thought I'd give it the name Luminosity. Really goes with the whole brightness of the whole thing. I planned out this entire build using a PC part picker to make sure that all the pieces were compatible before I went out and bought them. I knew I wanted this to be future-proof for my needs, so I made sure to go all out with the specs since I knew I probably wouldn't be making one for a long time, if not ever again. I made sure to do a lot of research on YouTube, and when I say a lot, I mean I watched hours and hours and hours of PC builds. I watched videos that compared parts and showed you what works best with what. All this went into making sure the PC would work after I put all the pieces together. It can be a really big investment when you plan to build your own PC, so it's better to make sure that all the parts work together before you go out and spend all your money on them. The main purpose of this build was to handle a stream and really anything I threw at it, whether that was animated overlays or changing of scenes or even GIFs that popped up while I was live. I had to make sure it was able to handle that and game at the same time. That's right, this would be a single PC setup since I mainly play on console, and I don't really have to worry about going dual PC setup since it would be complete overkill for what I'm doing now. I did figure I would be gaming on my PC, so I made sure to go all out with the GPU, getting a 2080 Ti from MSI. This was definitely the biggest piece of the build and took the longest time to save up for. The CPU I went with had to be able to handle anything I threw at it as well, so I made sure to buy the best one I knew of, choosing Intel over AMD, picking the i9 9900K overclocked to 5 GHz. As someone who this is their first time building a PC, let alone overclocking their CPU, I made sure to do a lot of research to make sure I got all the power and voltage settings right. Since I knew there was going to be a lot of load on this thing, I wanted to just go all out and go with water cooling to keep it cool the entire time. This was of course doubting at first, but as soon as I put all the pieces together and added the water blocks and installed the D5 water pump, the tubes were really straightforward to install after. Once everything was put together, adding the water wasn't too bad since I made sure to properly install all the tubes and make sure they were on tight. This was definitely the scariest part of the entire build, and after I put all the water, luckily nothing leaked and it all actually worked out. I let it sit for a little bit, but at first I kind of freaked out because it wasn't actually turning on, and after a little bit of troubleshooting I realized that I hadn't actually plugged in the PC. So once I got the power cable actually plugged in, then everything worked pretty smoothly. Once I clicked it on and saw all the lights and the fans working, I knew it had all been worth it. Let it be known that this is my first water-cooled build of all time, and I've had no experience whatsoever in my life. And I think I did a pretty good job for my first time. Guess all the countless hours of watching PC builds actually paid off. I didn't want to go with hard tubing since one, it would be much harder, and two, it doesn't really go with my artistic taste. Since I figured the tubes can be curvy and all over the place, it would add more to my artistic satisfaction. As well as gaming and streaming, I would be editing with this rig. I do shoot in 4K and then I turn that into 1080 so y'all can see it on here. So I need to make sure that when I'm editing, it doesn't slow down or it doesn't really crash, so that way it doesn't really ruin their workflow. For RAM, I have 64 gigabytes of Trident Z Royal RAM, clocked at 3600 megahertz, which is honestly one of my favorite parts of this entire build, mainly because of the chrome accents, but it also looks like it's a chipped rock and kind of looks like a diamond with the RGB going through it. which I think is pretty amazing. The chrome looks absolutely perfect, reflecting all the lights off of it. As well as the chrome on the RAM, I made sure to get a chrome GPU backplate so that the lights reflect off that even more, which is why I have the GPU in a horizontal mount versus a vertical mounting. I didn't want to go with any colored coolant since I heard that it kind of fades or tints your tubing, so I wanted to go with a clear coolant since, again, the RGB lights kind of reflect through the tubes and kind of bounce off the tubes, which even amplify it more. I have a monoblock and a GPU block all going through two 360mm radiators, and I have some other 140mm fans for more intake and exhaust. I went with Corsair fans since I personally think they have the best RGB customization. All in all, this build was hard, but it was definitely a fun experience. Hopefully in the future I can get to a place where I can build more PCs and hopefully make more videos for y'all to kind of show you how different PCs kind of help for different content creation needs. Some upgrades I would definitely like to add to my PC in the future would be custom cables. I kind of got carried away and built my PC so fast that I forgot to actually order some, but that's something you can always order later on down the line. I would also like to add probably one more capture card. I am using an Elgato 4K Mark II capture card, which captures all my Xbox and PS4 gameplay. Hopefully in the future I can add one more to capture more DSLR cameras so I can use them as webcams. One other thing I would like to do is make a covering for the power supply to kind of hide all those extra messy cables at the bottom of the case. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you all enjoyed seeing this build. If you did, feel free to leave a like. It lets me know. This PC really makes my life a lot easier, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody who has the resources to save up and build your own. It will definitely help you out on your own creative journey. If you guys have any awesome PC builds that you want to show off, feel free to tag me in a photo on Twitter. I'd love to check them out. Link to that down below. We'll see you live on Twitch and here on YouTube very soon. Stay safe out there. Consume, produce, and thank you for watching.
It up. Just chopping them up, man. I'm just kidding. It's so nuts. Oh! Not today. Oh boy. Oh boy. Kratos.